Crew. Good morning. It's time for another week, and just like always, as we get going and I explain what you need to do this week, remember your top priorities are English and math and iReady. Get your math minutes done, get your English minutes done, get your lessons done for both of them, and then when you feel done with all of that, you can do all of the other assignments that your teachers have prepared for you, which are as follows. Sixth grade. So for math, you have, as I have just said, your iReady minutes that you need to do, 45 minutes of iReady. And your math instruction pages, 172 to 181. Your practice pages, 183 to 192. Remember that there's lots of resources in the Google Classroom, lots of video links, lots of teachers to email, and your daily homework help, which is 1 to 1:45 p.m. Monday through Friday. For ELA, you have your Hangouts with Mr. Levitt on Wednesday from 10 to 11. Also, make sure you're doing your 45 minutes of iReady a week, and you're reading 45 minutes a day of a book of your choice. Writing this week, you have an assignment to read an article and then write whether or not you agree with it and why. You need to include at least 3 quotes from the text, and it should be at least 4 paragraphs long. That shouldn't take you more than 30 minutes a day. It will probably take you less. For science, you are going to analyze data to provide evidence for the effects of resource availability on organisms and populations in an ecosystem. Ask questions to predict how the changes in resource availability affects organisms in these ecosystems. There's going to be questions in a Google form for you to answer, and that link is in the Google Classroom as well as in the email. But of course, you'll want to check the Google Classroom so you can finish the assignment first. Social studies, you've got a new project. You're going to be really diving into the mind of your favorite historical figure as you create a social media profile for them. Now, you don't have to use social media to do this assignment. So if you don't, that's okay. But design what it would look like. Maybe draw it out on paper, maybe put it on Google Slides. If you really do want to make a new account, you can take screenshots, and I'm sure Mr. Stanley would love that. You can pick anyone you want as long as they were real and actually historical. But if you don't know who you want to make a profile about, Mr. Stanley has provided some ideas, such as Napoleon Bonaparte, Teddy Roosevelt, Joan of Arc, Amelia Earhart. Joan of Arc's my favorite. I'd love to see if someone did her. And for PE, besides regular following what you've been doing, staying healthy, exercising every day, 45 minutes a week at the minimum, and putting all of your activities into the daily tracker drive, Mr. Sterling also is going to be offering a live yoga session. This is new. It's going to be Wednesdays from 12:30 to 1 p.m. So on Google Hangout, he'll be doing some yoga poses and meditation strategies, and you can join him. For art, I've got my sketchbook and my drawing drop-in, which is on Thursdays, but you are going to be doing a new project where, oh, well, no, not doing a new project, finishing last week's project where you're drawing the face features. Last week you should have learned how to draw them. This week I want you to actually draw the face and then send it to me. And finally, for STEM, almost finally, for STEM, you are going to keep doing your service. Keep a record of your hours of service and submit it to the Google Classroom and put all of that and in the Google Classroom and check there for ideas as well. If you're not sure what kind of service you want to do, Ms. Golding and Ms. Louviere are putting service ideas in Google Classroom for you. We have another discovery activity this week as well. You are going to take a virtual museum tour. There's going to be more information in the email, but basically, after your museum tour, you and whoever you're doing discovery with in your family get to choose your favorite item that you saw on the tour and recreate your own version of it on paper. Maybe you draw it, maybe you try and sculpt it out of paper, and think about it, reflect. Why that museum? Why that object? And lastly, we have a crew. So every day, Tuesday through Friday, we're going to be meeting as a crew for greeting, reading initiative, and pack challenges. It's been great to see you all. The link is going to be in the email. It's at 9 a.m. every morning. So I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for crew.